What's going on, everybody? My name is Derek, and I'm host of the Real Hernando Podcast. And today, for our introduction episode, I wanted to talk to Mr. Robert Carter here. Why? Because Robert is the man behind the Real Hernando Facebook page. And he and I are working together on this podcast in hopes to help the community and local businesses. But we're going to get into more details on that here in a second. But now I want to turn to Mr. Robert. Robert, thanks.
Hello, everybody.
What's going on, man?
Well, Derek, appreciate it.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here. So behind the Real Hernando Facebook page, the post has been me, and we hope to share with the beauty and the great things about Hernando all through that page and through other outlets, but that being the main source of it to start with.
So I'm sure everyone in Hernando knows you. You know, I just got to know you. But for anyone that's watching that doesn't know you, what's your brief background here in Hernando and how you work with the high school and stuff?
So real briefly, just transplant from Jennings, Louisiana. Moved here with my family in '86 as a 10-year-old. So I'm definitely a DeSoto County and a Hernandoan now. And, we're here, and I love this place. But, established here in the schools and graduated, class of 95, go Tigers. Met my wife, and we had 4 beautiful children together. Zach, my wife's Lane. Sorry I didn't bring that up, but Lane. And then my oldest son, Zach, Graham, Addie, and Kylie. So they're all Hernando Tigers as well. But my wife's a teacher. I'm a banker here. So we're very established in the community. And to be established, you have to you got to love this community. Mm-hmm. I mean, and Hernando is an easy place to love. There are so many great elements about Hernando. I mean, small town filled with the big amenity accesses, and they're right around the corner. But, part of my starting this page is we have so many different outlets on social media, and, the new people moving here, Hernando gets a black eye a lot of times. I mean, just
Hernando does?
Hernando does, just because people don't know. And I guess that I got tired of it. So I was ready to share the great things about Hernando because it outweighs on the scales. I can tell you right now. There's so many great things. Everybody's got their ailments. Every town, county, city have ailments. We know that, but there's so many great benefits to Hernando. And it all begins with our youth. I can tell you that right now. We have a strong, complex, but an array of kids and youth and young families, in Hernando. In our older generations established those. So it's just history. It's history. And in history, we share stories. And that's where I wanted to go with, the Real Hernando page. So that was the basis of starting this page is let's start just shining the light back on Hernando and let me share the stories and share through businesses that have been established here. And let's share the great things those businesses are doing and offering now. Let's share what these youth are doing, let's share what Derek's doing, because we're all a part of this. And it's just better to bring out that positivity and all the pluses instead of the minuses for Hernando and its people. So
the real
Hernando. Yeah.
Well, for context, I've been in DeSoto County for a couple of years. I was in Memphis for the last several years. Made it to Olive Branch, but the goal was always to land in Hernando. Now I'm grateful that I can and am living in here because Hernando is awesome. I love it. I got to know Hernando very well because I was a house musician at a church over on Thousand Oaks Drive. Every other Sunday, coming to Hernando from Midtown Memphis, and just really liked the feel here and the vibe. So I finally get here. So now let's connect how you and I meet and how now this podcast and this video and all of this exists. So quick context, I asked a friend about a banker that I can maybe go talk to to start a new business account. And he introduced me to Mr. Carter here. So I'm on the phone with you, and I dropped the name that referred me to you, and you're like, hey, what's up? Let's talk. And so I tell you what's up, what I'm trying to do, and I tell you about my business. Now, my business is called Shelby Road Productions, and our podcast production agency that produces content for media like this. And you were pretty engaged. You were interested in it. You're like, that's pretty cool. And then I briefly mentioned, I was thinking of maybe starting something local. And you're like, wait a minute. I got this new page I just started.
Yeah.
So I'm like, awesome. So our meeting for my bank accounts turned into also a get to know each other meeting. I'll walk into your office and your monitor's up and my website's up, and you're all like, man, this is so cool. So the first 30 minutes, I think we talked about a podcast that we could possibly do before even talking about my checking account. So.
Well, that's right. And Derek, let me throw this in there. You know, when you started telling me about what you did and your purpose in life, you know, it was captivating, and you were sharing a story. And again, that's some of those things that, you know, I wish we did more of with the world. And that's what I want to do with starting Hernando. I hope it grows to other people wanting to do the same, because, you know, first and foremost, you mentioned in the mutual friend that we had that referred you, people deal with people. Mm-hmm. Bottom line, people deal with people. And that's in all of our businesses. And when you set a precedence of a good reputation for it, you know, I treat people, my goal in life is to treat people really good, take care of them, do all I can for them. And, you know, there's going to be a day I'm not here, but I know that those people would take care of my family and treat them with the same respect. Mm-hmm. That's my goal in life. But you mentioned, and maybe joining forces with another, you know, source. And I said, man, maybe you ought to look at this, because you're here talking about sharing stories. You
redirected me in a different direction, sir.
So the captivating part that got us really talking was the fact that he was interested about the young fella at the railroad tracks that sells produce. Right. And that just, I was in. I was like, that's a guy I want to know about his story, because he's been there for the last 30 plus years.
Yeah.
Every day.
So let me tandem on that to give more context. So what this podcast is going to be is, yes, it's called the Real Hernando, based off the Facebook page. But me as the host am going to be interviewing all the entrepreneurs and small business owners in the area that want to share their story, right? What's their story behind the business? Everyone's got a story. It's always interesting how they started, what the business is about, as a way to promote them as well.
Correct.
So this stuff will be shared on social media, and we'll get to all the platforms that this will be on here in a second. But it's a way of spreading the love to the local businesses, highlighting them for a couple weeks. Each episode is going to be every other week. So a company is going to be highlighted for a 2-week period over social media, and there's way more details into that we can get to later. But so that was the purpose. And I was telling you how, let's get stories, let's get these people's stories. And then I'm like, who's that guy selling watermelons by the railroad track? I don't know who he is. We drive by him every day.
That's right.
And then you're like, I don't really know him either.
Yeah.
And you're Mr. Hernando.
But I've seen him for the last 30 plus years.
You've seen him every day for years.
Wave at him. Bought stuff from him, you know. And
so let's get to know him.
Get to know him.
Let's get to know all the business owners here that circle the square all summer for the farmers market. And that was kind of my thought and angle on this, was to use what I do best, which is create content and for media and podcasting and videos and all of this stuff that you're going to see on the social media platforms, and somehow tie it in with this local community. So because I meet you, this is now happening. So
yeah. And I've got a blessing and a, you know, I don't ever want to call it a curse because I don't feel that way, but I got a blessing, not only being in the banking world and meeting so many individuals, but also being a part of our chamber. And, you know, I'm also very heavily involved with Hernando sports, both on a rec.
Tell me about
level.
the boosters.
So I've been part of the football boosters since 2014. Coach Will Wolf came in, was a new coach after Coach Anthony Jenkins, coached for 26 years in Hernando, and he had afforded another opportunity, bigger opportunity, and he took it. He's still with DeSoto County Schools, was doing larger, athletic director for the whole county. Mm-hmm. So Will Wolf came in, and, my son was a senior that year coming into that season, and I wanted to be involved. I mean, I wanted what's best. I want this program to not only be the best Friday night light experience for you and your family, but for the boys and the players and the cheerleaders and the band, Mm-hmm. So that was my goal to let me jump in there. I got an opportunity. Let's do this. So, trial and error,
How long have you been doing it for?
Since 2014. So what is this?
7 years?
Yeah, almost 7 years. Been booster president. I started off for the first 2 years. I did the year that my son was a senior, the next year, and then stepped down to VP for a couple years, and then for about a year and a half, actually, and then went right back into it. So I've been booster president, the last, 2.5 years. So it's not about a title for me. It's about seeing it get done.
So being the president of the boosters, is that for all sports?
No,
or is it used specifically for the football?
Strictly
team?
for football right now. I'm involved. I'm on the boosters with the Hernando baseball. I was doing it when it was middle school sports, and I also was over our Hernando Youth Football Association. So for many years there, and again, it's building programs that have strengthened, and it's a team. It's not Robert. It's not one person. It's a team, mm-hmm. and a vision. And again, to share these kids' story, to share the sport, and again, it's all about sharing and strengthening, and we're here. So, but yeah, I'm still, I play call for Friday night games at home. Kevin Johnson, he's actually the announcer. We'll both split that duty at times.
You're up there during the games?
I'm up there during the games.
No wonder I could never find you.
Yeah.
I saw your kids running all over the place.
That's me up in the press box. So, again, I'm calling what plays are made. He's announcing them. And we, when he's not there, I announce. So
cool.
And we both sound a lot alike, they say. So nobody ever knows who's really announcing. So that's kind of good. But that's.
Are you the one growling after the first down?
Yeah. I mean, no, that's actually Kevin. And most of the time that's because we're hungry. And but,
man, side note, I went to a game and they ran out of food.
Well, that's a good problem.
I guess so. Yeah.
That's a great problem.
But, I think that tells everything I need to know as far as how engaged you are with this community. I mean, what you're doing there is awesome. And it shows, when you go to see a Hernando football game, the team is awesome. Down to the jerseys, to the facility, just everything is super professional. Whoever's doing the boosters for the band, amazing.
Yes.
I mean, they got 20 xylophones out there on the field. I mean,
I tell you, we have some good booster clubs, and some engaged parents. And again, it's a team. It's not an individual unit. So it's a team. So,
well, that's the type of stuff we're trying to promote, Robert,
Absolutely.
And what we're doing with this project. So I thank you for letting me kind of piggyback here and run with the name.
Oh, my appreciation to you for the opportunity to share your story and your blessing and the benefit of your good work. So, man, do it.
It's only going to get better.
That's right.
So how this is going to work is there's going to be a website. There is a website called therealhernando.com. That's going to be the hub, the Grand Central Station, the watermelon truck over by the track. And there you'll be able to find the podcast episodes. You can either watch them or you can listen to them in audio form. From there, you can also click the links to take you to the YouTube channel where you see the same video. This will also be on all the major podcast platforms, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Audible, all the platforms too. So there's going to be plenty of ways for y'all to consume this content. Also, we're going to be promoting and just sharing stories in various ways on our Facebook page, Real Hernando Facebook page. We also have a group that we're going to start building up, the Real Hernando group. We got an Instagram page, The Real Hernando.
Right.
And then we got, and that's going to be it for the social media platforms. But this is definitely a way to just try to highlight and magnify and amplify the local heroes in this town that have built the city to what it is and has maintained it where it is. It's still got that small town feel. So these are the type of things we want to talk about and people we want to talk to. And we hope that y'all will join us in this movement is what I like to call this. It's a podcast, it's a page, it's a website, but really this is a movement that we are trying to create here. So I hope you all have a good day after seeing this, and we will talk to you again soon.
And go Tigers, go Hernando.